Hey guys, welcome back to Cyber Platter. Today we'll discuss incident response interview question and answers. This is part one. There'll be many parts. I will link it in the description box as and when I record it. If you want to know about other interview topics like EDR, SIM is very related to incident response, EDR as well, and vulnerability management, SOC. I will link all of them in the description box, and there are individual cybersecurity topics as well, like one especially dedicated to incident response phases. I would highly recommend going through that. Identity and access management, etc. I will link them as well in the in the description box. So let's start with our first question. First question is, what is an incident in the context of cybersecurity, and how do you define an incident within an organization? In the context of cybersecurity, an incident refers to any unauthorized or unexpected event that compromises the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of an organization's information systems, data, or resources. It involves actions or events that pose a potential risk to the organization's security posture. Now, let's see more specifically what an incident could include. Security breaches, that is, unauthorized access to sensitive data systems or networks, the introduction of malicious software that can disrupt operations or steal information, then DOS attacks or DDoS attacks, denial of service attacks, attempts to overwhelm or disrupt services, making them unavailable to users. Then there is insider threat, that is, misuse or compromise of information by employees, contractors, or other individuals with insider access. Then there is phishing attacks, deceptive attempts to trick individuals into revealing sensitive information such as login credentials. Then data exfiltration, that is, unauthorized extraction or theft of sensitive data from the organization. Now, let's see how we can define an incident within an organization. Defining an incident involves categorizing and assessing the severity of the event based on its potential impact and the level of risk it poses. Organizations typically use an incident response framework to formalize the process of identifying, managing, and mitigating incidents. This framework outlines the steps to be taken from detection to recovery and often includes roles and responsibilities, communication plans, and documentation procedures. So, in essence, an incident in cybersecurity represents an unplanned event that requires a coordinated and structured response to minimize harm, protect assets, and restore normal operations. Let's go to the next question. Can you describe the key phases of the incident response life cycle? First one, preparation. The objective of this phase is to establish the foundation for an effective incident response capability. So let's talk about the activities under the preparation phase now. Develop an incident response policy and plan. Define roles and responsibilities within the incident response team. Conduct regular training and awareness programs for staff. Establish communication and coordination mechanisms. After preparation phase, the next one is identification. The objective of this phase is to detect and identify potential security incidents. Let's look at the activities under the identification phase now. Implement monitoring systems for network traffic, system logs, and other security related events. Use intrusion detection systems, IDS, SIM solutions, and other tools to identify anomalies or suspicious activities. Define and tune alert thresholds based on normal behavior. Monitor for indicators of compromise, IOCs, and signatures of known threats. The third phase is containment. The objective of this phase is to limit the scope and impact of the incident. Let's look at the activities in the containment phase. Isolate affected systems or network to prevent further spread of the incident. Implement temporary measures to mitigate the immediate risks, identify and secure compromised accounts or credentials, apply access controls and restrictions to limit potential damage. Next phase, eradication. The objective of this phase is to remove the root cause of the incident and prevent its recurrence. Let's look at the activities. Identify and remove malicious code or attacks, patch or remediate vulnerabilities that contributed to the incident, update the security configurations to enhance resilience, conduct a thorough review of systems to ensure no remnants of the incident remain. The next phase is the recovery phase. The objective of this phase is to restore systems and services to normal operations. The activities include validate the integrity of recovered systems, restore data and configurations from backups. Next, monitor systems closely to ensure the incident has been fully remediated. Next, communicate with stakeholders about the recovery status. Next step is lessons learned. The objective of this phase is to analyze the incident response process to improve future response. Let's look at the activities. Conduct a post incident review to identify strengths and weaknesses, document lessons learned and areas for improvement, update incident response plans, policies, and procedures, share insights with the broader organization for continuous improvement. So, these phases form a continuous and iterative cycle. Successful incident response requires a combination of technical expertise, collaboration, and continuous improvement to adapt to evolving cyber threats. Let's go to the next question. What is the importance of a well defined incident response plan? So, having a well defined incident response plan is crucial for organizations in effectively mitigating and managing cybersecurity incidents. Let's see some of the key reasons why an incident response plan is important. First, timely response. An incident response plan provides a structured and organized approach to responding to incidents. It ensures that the organization can act promptly when a security incident is detected. It ensures that the organization can act promptly when a security event is detected, reducing the time it takes to contain and mitigate the impact. Next, minimization of damage. A well crafted IR plan helps in minimizing the potential damage caused by a cybersecurity incident. It outlines specific actions to be taken during each phase of the incident response lifecycle, aiming to prevent the incident from escalating. Next, consistency and standardization. Standardizing incident response procedures ensures a consistent and repeatable process across the organization. This consistency is vital for managing incidents effectively and reducing the risk of human error during high stress situations. Next, clear roles and responsibilities. An IR plan defines roles and responsibilities within the incident response team. This clarity ensures that individuals understand their specific duties during an incident, facilitating a coordinated and efficient response. Next, regulatory compliance. Many industries and jurisdictions have specific regulations that require organizations to have incident response capabilities. An IR plan helps in meeting these regulatory compliance requirements and can be crucial in demonstrating due diligence to regulatory bodies. Next, communication and coordination. The IR plan establishes communication channels and protocols for notifying relevant stakeholders, both internal and external. This ensures that communication during an incident is clear, timely, and aligned with the organization's overall communication strategy. Next, continuous improvement. Following an incident, the IR plan allows the organization to conduct a post incident review. This review process helps identify areas for improvement, allowing the organizations to refine and enhance its incident response procedures continuously. So, these are some of the key reasons why an IR plan is important. Let's go to the next question. How would you create or improve an IR plan? First, assessment. Assess the organization's current incident response capabilities. Identify potential risks and threats specific to the organization's environment. Next, stakeholder engagement. Involve key stakeholders from IT, legal, compliance, and executive leadership in the development or improvement process. Next, define objectives. Clearly articulate the objectives of the incident response plan. Align the objectives with the organization's overall business goals and risk management strategy. Next, risk classification. Classify incidents based on severity and potential impact. Define different response strategies for each classification. Next, roles and responsibilities. Clearly define roles and responsibilities for individuals within the incident response team. Ensure that responsibilities align with the skills and expertise of team members. Communication plan. Develop a communication plan that includes internal and external stakeholders. Establish clear communication channels and protocols for incident notification. Next, training and awareness. Provide training to incident response team members on the use of the incident response plan. Conduct awareness sessions for all relevant employees to ensure they understand their roles in incident response. Testing and exercises. Regularly test the incident response plan through tabletop exercises, simulations, or red teaming. Use these exercises to identify weaknesses in the plan and make necessary improvements. Next, documentation. Document the incident response plan in a clear and accessible format. Include detailed procedures for each phase of the incident response lifecycle. Next, review and update. Conduct regular reviews of the incident response plan to ensure it remains up to date. Update the plan based on changes in the organization's infrastructure, personnel, or threat landscape. Next, legal and compliance considerations. Consider legal and compliance requirements when developing or updating the plan. Ensure that the plan aligns with relevant regulations and laws applicable to the organization. So, by following these steps, organizations can create a robust and effective incident response plan that enhances their cybersecurity posture and resilience against potential threats. Let's go to the next question. How do you prioritize incidents when multiple security events are detected simultaneously? First, risk assessment. Assess the potential impact of each incident on the organization's confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Consider factors such as data sensitivity, critical systems, and business operations. Next, categorization and classification. Classify incidents into categories based on their nature, such as malware infections, unauthorized access, or denial of service attacks. Assign severity levels to incidents, indicating their criticality and urgency. Next, contextual analysis. Consider the broader context of each incident. Evaluate whether incidents are isolated or part of a coordinated attack. Understanding the context helps in determining the overall risk. Next, threat intelligence. Leverage threat intelligence to understand the relevance and significance of each incident. Identify if any incidents align with known threat actor tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTPs. Next, business impact. Evaluate the impact of incidents on critical business processes, services, or operations. Prioritize incidents that directly affect core business functions. Next, regulatory and compliance requirements. If certain incidents trigger legal or regulatory obligations, prioritize them accordingly. Compliance requirements may mandate a specific response timeline. Next, resource availability. Consider the availability of resources, both in terms of technology and personnel, for responding to incidents. Prioritize incidents that can be addressed effectively with the available resources. Next, incident history. Analyze past incidents and their resolutions. If a similar incident has occurred before, assess the effectiveness of previous responses and apply lessons learned. Next, triage process. Develop and follow a triage process to quickly assess and categorize incidents. This process helps in rapidly identifying high priority incidents that require immediate attention. Next, escalation criteria. Clearly define criteria for escalating incidents based on severity, impact, or complexity. Establish communication channels and protocols for escalating incidents to higher levels of the incident response team. Next, continuous monitoring. Utilize real time monitoring tools to track the progress and impact of ongoing incidents. Adjust priorities as the situation evolves. Next, collaboration and communication. Maintain open communication channels within the incident response team and with relevant stakeholders. Ensure that team members are aware of the current incident priorities. Next, executive and leadership input. Consult with executive leadership to gain insights into the strategic impact of incidents. Their input can help align incident response priorities with organizational goals. Next, agile response. Be prepared to adapt and prioritize based on new information or changes in the threat landscape. Incident response is dynamic and priorities may shift during the course of an investigation. So, by employing a combination of these strategies, incident responders can prioritize incidents effectively, focusing resources on those that pose the greatest risk to the organization's security and operations. Let's go to the next question. What steps do you take when initially responding to a security incident as an incident response analyst to contain and mitigate the threat? So, we're talking about the initial response to a security incident. So, as an incident response analyst, the initial response to security incident involves taking swift and targeted actions to contain and mitigate the threat. Let's see some of the steps you might want to consider during the initial response phase. First, identification and verification. Verify that an incident has indeed occurred by reviewing alerts, logs, and other indicators. Classify the incident based on its nature, such as a malware infection, unauthorized access, or denial of service attack. Next, isolation and containment. Quickly isolate affected systems or networks to prevent the spread of the incident. Apply network controls such as blocking malicious IP addresses or isolating compromised segments to contain the threat. Next, preservation of the evidence. Record initial findings and document relevant information, including timestamps, affected systems, and observed behaviors. Take steps to preserve evidence for later analysis and potential legal or forensic purposes. Next, communication. Initiate communication within the incident response team and relevant stakeholders. Ensure that all team members are aware of the incident. Provide preliminary information to executive leadership and other key decision makers about the incident. Next, notification and reporting. If required by policies or regulations, notify appropriate parties such as legal, compliance, or law enforcement based on the nature of the incident. Begin preparing an initial incident report outlining the known details, impact, and other response actions. These, if necessary, involve specialized teams such as forensics, legal, or external incident response partners based on the incident's complexity. Next, mitigation actions. Implement immediate mitigations to stop the ongoing threat. This may involve applying security patches, updating signatures, or blocking malicious activity. Identify and terminate malicious processes or activities on affected systems. Next, change credentials. If there is evidence of compromised credentials, reset passwords for affected accounts to prevent further unauthorized access. Next, collect artifacts for analysis. Collect relevant artifacts such as logs, memory dumps, or network captures for further analysis and investigation. Next, continuous monitoring. Continuously monitor the environment to detect any signs of persistence by the attacker. Be vigilant for any signs of lateral movement or further attempts to compromise systems. Update stakeholders. Provide regular updates to stakeholders, including executive leadership, as the incident progresses. Clarif- Clarify the impact of the incident and any measures taken to contain it. Next, review and refine strategy. Continuously assess the effectiveness of containment measures and adjust the strategy as needed. Refine the incident response plan based on lessons learned during the initial response phase. So, these steps aim to quickly and effectively contain the incidents, limit the potential damage, and position the organization for further investigation and recovery efforts. Coordination, documentation, and communication are essential components of a successful initial incident response. Let's go to the next question. How do you detect security incidents, and what tools and techniques do you use for monitoring and detection? Detecting security incidents involves a combination of tools, techniques, and proactive monitoring strategies. Let's see some of the common tools and techniques used for monitoring and detecting security incidents. First, managed systems, so SIM systems. SIM systems aggregate and analyze log data from various sources, providing a centralized view of security incidents. The techniques used here are correlation of log data, anomaly detection, and real time alerting. Next, detection system and intrusion prevention system, IDS and IPS. So, IDS monitors networks or system activities for malicious behavior, while IPS can actively block or prevent detected threats. The techniques used here are signature based detection, anomaly based detection, and heuristics. Next, firewalls. These filter network traffic based on predefined rules and can help detect and block malicious activity. Rule based filtering, logging, and analysis of traffic patterns are used here. Next, EDR, endpoint detection and response solutions. EDR tools monitor and analyze activities on individual endpoints like computers, servers, etc. The techniques used are behavioral analysis, signature based detection, and endpoint telemetry. Next, antivirus and anti malware solutions. These solutions detect and prevent the execution of null malware and suspicious files. Techniques used are signature based detection, heuristic analysis, and behavior monitoring. Next, network traffic analysis tools. These tools analyze network traffic for unusual patterns, anomalies, or malicious activity. Technique used are deep packet inspection, flow analysis, and behavior analysis. Next, UEBA, user and entity behavior analytics. These solutions analyze user behavior to detect anomalous activities that may indicate a security incident. Techniques used are behavioral profiling, anomaly detection, and machine learning. Next, security analytics platform. These are comprehensive platforms that integrate various security data sources for advanced analysis and detection. Techniques used are big data analytics, machine learning, and correlation of diverse data sets. Next, honeypots. These are simulated systems or networks designed to attract and detect attackers. Techniques used are monitoring interactions with the honeypot and analyzing any malicious activities. Next, threat intelligence feeds. These are external sources providing information on known threats and indicators of compromise. The technique used here is the integration of threat feeds into security tools for real-time detection. Next, log analysis and monitoring. Regularly reviewing logs generated by various systems and applications for signs of unusual or suspicious activities. The techniques used here are manual log analysis, scripting, and the use of log management tools. Next, security auditing and management, configuration management. Regularly auditing system configurations and settings for vulnerabilities or deviations from security policies are included here. The techniques used are automated configuration configuration scanning, compliance checks, and audit trails. Next, behavior analysis and heuristics, that is, analyzing patterns of behavior to identify deviations from normal activities. The techniques used here are machine learning, statistical analysis, and heuristics to identify anomalies. Next, phishing detection tools. These are designed to detect phishing attempts and malicious URLs. The techniques used are URL reputation analysis, email content analysis, and user reporting. So, effective incident detection often involves a combination of these tools and techniques tailored to the specific needs and infrastructure of the organization. Regularly updating signatures, staying informed about emerging threats, and fine tuning detection mechanisms are essential for maintaining a strong security posture. Let's go to the next question. How do you analyze a suspicious network traffic pattern to determine if it's an incident, and what tools do you use for packet capture and analysis? So, analyzing suspicious network traffic patterns involves a systematic approach to understand the nature of the activity and determine whether it constitutes a security incident. Let's see a general process for analyzing suspicious network traffic and some tools that are commonly used for packet capture and analysis. So, first, define baseline, that is, establish a baseline of normal network behavior to identify anomalies. Next, identify suspicious patterns. Monitor for patterns such as unusual spikes in network traffic, unexpected communication between systems, or abnormal data transfer volumes. Next, correlate with other events. Correlate suspicious network activity with other security events such as system logs, firewall alerts, or intrusion detection system alerts. Next, identify the source and destination IP addresses involved in the suspicious traffic. Next, analyze the protocols and ports used in the communication to understand whether they align with expected behavior. Next, investigate the use of uncommon or unauthorized or unusual protocols, as this could indicate malicious activity. Next, if possible, inspect the payload contents of network packets to identify any signs of malicious activity, such as known malware signatures or unusual data patterns. Next, apply behavioral analysis to identify patterns that deviate from normal network behavior. Next, assess the timing and frequency of the suspicious activity to identify patterns that may indicate a coordinated attack. Next, consider the behavior of users and entities involved in the communication. Look for anomalies in user activity. Next, investigate whether the network traffic exhibits characteristics consistent with command and control communication used by malware. So, this is how you analyze the network traffic. Now, let's look at the tools for packet capturing and analysis. First, Wireshark. This is a widely used open source packet analysis tool. It can capture, analyze, and interpret network packets, provides detailed information about protocols, conversations, and traffic patterns. Next, TCP dump. This is a command line packet capture tool. It captures packets at the command line with various filtering options. It is suitable for live packet capture and subsequent offline analysis. Next, T-Shark. This is the command line version of Wireshark. It offers similar packet capture and analysis capabilities as Wireshark, but without the graphical interface. Next, NetFlow analyzers. They analyze NetFlow or S-flow data exported by routers and switches. They provide insights into network traffic patterns, top talkers, and protocols. Tools like SolarWinds NetFlow Traffic Analyzer can be used for this purpose. Next, Saricata. This is an open source IDS IPS engine. It can capture and analyze network traffic in real time, and it can be configured to detect and alert on suspicious patterns. Next, Moloch. This is an open source packet capture and indexing tool. It captures and indexes packets, allowing for efficient search and analysis. It supports the storage and retrieval of large volumes of packet data. Next, Snort. This is an open source IDS IPS system. It can capture and analyze network traffic for known attack signatures. It can be configured to generate alerts based on detected threats. Next, Zeek, formerly called Bro. This is an open source network security monitoring tool. It captures and analyzes network traffic, providing a high level summary of network activity and potential security incidents. So, when analyzing suspicious network traffic, combining the insights from multiple tools and techniques enhances the accuracy of the assessment. Additionally, integrating network traffic analysis with other security information such as logs and endpoint data provides a more comprehensive view of potential incidents. Let's go to the next question. How do you differentiate between an incident and a breach, and how do you differentiate between the two during an investigation? The terms incident and breach are related but refer to different aspects of cybersecurity events. First, let's talk about an incident. An incident is an unexpected event or series of events that may compromise the security of an organization's information systems, data, or resources. Incidents include a broad range of security related events, including but not limited to unauthorized access, malware infections, denial of service attacks, and policy violations. Incidents can vary in severity and impact, but not all incidents result in a security breach. An example of an incident is a detected malware infection on a user's workstation or a system experiencing unusual network traffic. Now let's talk about a breach. A breach occurs when an unauthorized party gains access to sensitive data or systems, potentially leading to the exposure, theft, or compromise of that data. A breach is a specific type of incident that involves the actual unauthorized access, acquisition, or disclosure of sensitive information. Breaches are incidents with a significant impact, often involving the compromise of confidential or personally identifiable information, that is PII. An example of a breach is unauthorized access to a database containing customer credit card information, or an external attacker gaining access to an organization's proprietary data. Now, let's see during an investigation how cybersecurity professionals use various techniques and analysis methods to differentiate between incidents and breaches. First, thorough analysis. Investigate the incident thoroughly to understand the nature, scope, and potential impact. Determine whether the incident involves unauthorized access to sensitive data or if it remains contained to less critical systems. Next, data classification. Assess the type of data involved in the incident. If the incident involves the compromise of sensitive or confidential information, it may escalate to a breach. Next, forensic analysis. Conduct forensic analysis to trace the actions of the attacker or the source of the incident. Determine if the incident resulted in unauthorized access to sensitive data or if it remained at a reconnaissance or initial exploitation stage. Next, data exfiltration investigation. Investigate whether there is evidence of data exfiltration or unauthorized copying of sensitive data. Determine if the incident led to the actual compromise of data integrity or confidentiality. Next, notification requirements. Assess whether the incident triggers legal or regulatory notification requirements. Breaches often involve the compromise of data that, if accessed, requires notifying affected parties or regulatory authorities. Next, evaluate the impact of the incident on the organization, including the potential damage to data integrity, confidentiality, and availability. Determine whether the incident reaches a level of severity that qualifies it as a breach. Next, communication and reporting. Establish clear communication channels with stakeholders, legal, and compliance teams. If the incident involves a breach, initiate breach response protocols, and reporting mechanisms. So, in summary, while all breaches are incidents, not all incidents escalate to the level of a breach. The differentiation often hinges on the extent of unauthorized access, the type of data involved, and the potential impact on the organization and affected individuals. Thorough investigation and analysis are key to making this determination during an incident response process. Let's go to the next question. What strategies and methods do you employ to contain an incident and prevent further damage? So, containment is a crucial step in the incident response process, aiming to prevent further damage, limit the impact of the incident, and create a controlled environment for investigation and remediation. Let's look at some strategies and methods commonly employed to contain an incident. First, isolation of affected systems. So, identify and isolate the systems or networks affected by the incident to prevent the spread of the threat. So, you can disable network connections, quarantine affected devices, or segment networks to contain the incident. Next, implement network controls. So, apply network controls to block malicious traffic and prevent communication with command and control servers. You can update firewall rules, intrusion prevention system, or other network security devices to filter or block malicious traffic. Next, endpoint quarantine. So, you quarantine affected endpoints to prevent further interaction with the network or other systems. Disable network interfaces, restrict user access, or isolate endpoints using endpoint protection solutions. Next, temporary service disruption. Temporarily disrupt or shut down affected services or systems to prevent further damage. Halt critical services or take affected systems offline to contain the incident. Next, access controls and account lockout. Strengthen access controls to limit privileges and lock down compromised accounts. So you can reset passwords, revoke unnecessary privileges, and temporarily disable compromised user accounts. Next, patch and remediate vulnerabilities. So, identify and remediate vulnerabilities exploited during the incident to prevent further exploitation. You can apply security patches, update software, and configure systems to address known vulnerabilities. Next, data encryption. Encrypt sensitive data to protect it from unauthorized access in case of a breach. Implement encryption for data at rest, transit, and during processing to safeguard sensitive information. Next, implementing security policies. Enforce or update security policies to strengthen overall security controls and reduce the risk of further incidents. Review and update security policies, ensuring they align with current threats and vulnerabilities. Next, incident specific countermeasures. Deploy countermeasures specific to the nature of the incident to neutralize the threat. Use antivirus signatures, intrusion detection signatures, or other threat specific countermeasures to block or mitigate the incident. Next, monitor the affected systems and networks for signs of continued or new malicious activity. Set up real-time alerts and continuous monitoring to detect any attempts to bypass containment measures. Next, educate users about the incident, potential social engineering tactics, and best practices to prevent further exploitation. Conduct awareness training, communicate incident updates, and encourage reporting of suspicious activities. Next, document containment actions taken and maintain detailed logs for further analysis. Keep a record of steps taken during the containment process, including changes to configurations and access controls. Next, engage external partners such as law enforcement or third party incident response teams if necessary. Share relevant incident information with external partners to enhance containment efforts and investigations. Next, Continuously monitor the effectiveness of containment measures and adjust them as needed. Regularly review logs, analyze network traffic, and assess the overall security posture to ensure ongoing containment. So, effective containment requires a combination of technical controls, timely response actions, and ongoing vigilance. The goal is to quickly limit the incident's impact, protect critical assets, and create a foundation for further investigation and recovery. So that's it for today, guys. I hope this helped you learn a little bit about incident response. I will see you in the next video with more questions on incident response. That will be part 2. There will be scenario based incident response questions as well. I will link them in the description box. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our videos. That will help us very much. I will see you soon again. Bye bye.